first orientation in a long time, as far as I know, and also first time on this content. So just really looking forward to sharing it with you all. And we are the Seattle Green Party, of course, and we're online. You can get in touch with us over email. So please do, if you have any, if you want to learn more, if you want to get a conversation started, we're really looking forward to that. And we'll, of course, have time for that today as well. I'm happy to read this, although this slide was actually developed by Halima. Did you maybe want to do this one?
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome everyone, and so welcome, and why are you here, right? Welcome and thank you for being here. By showing up today, you've already taken an important step towards building a stronger, people-powered party. This party exists because everyday people choose to give their time, labor, and care to something bigger than themselves. You're here because change doesn't happen on its own. It happens when members move from supporters to participants, and from participants to organizers. Our chapter grows stronger when members stay engaged, come to meetings, share ideas, build relationships, and take collective action together.
I love it.
That's why you're here. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I love it. Couldn't have said it better myself. So it's really great to meet you all. And we just like to get things started on a kind of personal note. So we've got a couple prompts here, and you're welcome to do a little introduction in the chat. So I'll just go ahead and do my own. My name is Andre, and I'm a member of the Seattle Green Party. I live in Seattle, specifically in the 6th City Council District. So that makes Dan Strauss my City Council representative. I'm active across a number of organizations. The one most people would probably be aware of is called Whole Washington, which is a universal healthcare advocacy organization. But I'm part of the Green Party because, like on that last slide, I don't think that things happen on their own. And I think it's really, really important that people organize politically and electorally, and not necessarily always on a single issue. And I think that political parties provide a framework for us to organize across a number of issues and different political strategies. So that's why I think it's really critical that we have a Green Party and why I am a part of it. So kind of taking it from the top and starting with the basics, what is the Green Party? And one place to start with that is that it's a global network of political parties. There's over 100 across the world. They are elected in parliaments and other public offices all across the globe. And that includes the United States. So in the United States, the Green Party of the United States is the 4th largest political party. It's the country's largest independent political party. And it has over 260,000 registered members. There's actually quite a bit more Greens than that because not every state has party registration. So this is only in the states with party registration, but 260,000 is a lot of people. We have over 150 elected office holders in 22 different states, and we have a state party and ballot access in nearly every state. You can see that here. So not all of these states are as developed or as active as all the other ones. You can see that there's a handful that are unaffiliated, and a couple that maybe don't have a Green Party right now. But by and large, no matter what state you're in, there's a Green Party available to you to get involved with. And so it's really wonderful to be a part of a nationwide movement. In Washington, we have 2 active local chapters. So we have a state party, Green Party of Washington, and then the Seattle Green Party and the South Sound Green Party. But you can see that there are a number of other parts of the state where there is an intention or some energy behind forming a new local party. And just touching on a brief history of the Green Party, the The Green Parties of the world really go back to the 1970s, the first forming in Australia, the UK, and Germany. In 84, the first US Green Party formed in Maine. And a couple years later, the first two Greens were elected locally in Wisconsin. By the early 90s, the party had become a national political party, and by 96 ran its first presidential candidate. In 1999, the Green Party won its first state election in California, and in 2000, the Green Party received a record nearly 3 million votes for president, and in 2016, formally adopted eco-socialism into its platform. And that's a great pivot into this next section, which is what do Greens believe? And so, with so many parties across so many different parts of the world, of course, there's a broad spectrum of interests and beliefs within the Green Party, but there are some ideological commitments that unite us all. So the first set is called the Four Pillars. They are peace, ecology, social justice, and democracy. And so these really create our commitment to nonviolence, to a sustainable planet and a sustainable future, and then a society in which all can participate and the benefits are shared across everybody. There are also the 10 key values, which are really very similar, I think fit into those four pillars really nicely as well, but add a little bit of additional detail in some cases. So grassroots democracy, social justice and equal opportunity, ecological wisdom, nonviolence, decentralization, community-based economics, feminism and gender equity, respect for diversity, personal and global responsibility, future focus, and sustainability. And as I said, in the United States, we are also an eco-socialist and anti-capitalist party. In fact, the largest socialist party in the United States. And so you can write entire books on what that means, but in short, we want to see a future in which the economy that we build and the society that we build is in harmony with the planet we live on. And we see capitalism as the primary obstacle to that. And you can write entire books on the details of this and what it means. But the short version really is that we are about people, planet, and peace. So you don't have to overthink it. Think global, act local, and keep it about people, planet, and peace. There are a lot of ways to get involved with the party, and the Green Party of the United States has a number of caucuses that organize its members by identity, or also the Young Eco-Socialists, which is our youth caucus for any member under the age of 35. And there are also committees, and a number of these committees are just about running the business, keeping the lights on, and then others are about our outreach and our advocacy and our issues. And the one you probably should know about first and foremost is the National Committee, which is the primary governing body of the Green Party. So talking about how we grow, what our strategy is, and how we are able to operate as an alternative party in a system that really only wants a duopoly. And I think that the best way to do that is to kind of walk through what makes the Green Party different. So the first is that we are a political party, and there are many organizations out there that may do electoral work and may share issues with us, but are not, in fact, political parties. So we are a political party. We're democratically governed by our members. And we accept no corporate money, which is very, very important to maintaining our independence, and it applies to any organization with a registered lobbyist. We are also not a fusion party, so you may have heard of some political parties out there, and what fusion parties are is they're parties in which members or candidates can be a member of two parties. And so again, we've seen how this goes historically. Fusion parties often end up enveloped by the larger force out there. And so to maintain our independence, all members and candidates are members of the Green Party only. And last but not least, as you saw through that history slide, the Green Party has stood the test of time. And so I have two logos here from organizations, and we mean no disrespect at all. But brand new Congress represents a sort of non-party party that over time was enveloped into the Democratic Party and eventually shut down. Whereas Movement for a People's Party was a very, very exciting, high energy, new party project, and a lot of people came to it very excited to see a new party form. And yet, before that party was ever able to run any candidates, it was effectively lost momentum and shut down. And so, this is not easy work. It's going to take a sustained effort over a long period of time, and Green Party has really shown that it is here to play the long game on this. And also very critical to that is ballot access. In many parts of the country and to many people, if you are not on the ballot, you don't exist. And so it's wonderful that Green Party has a lot of experience making the ballot. And we won't get into all of the details of this map. But long story short, when we're talking about an independent left political party, there is no other option on as many ballots as the Green Party. And it can be discouraging, especially if you only kind of watch the presidential elections to see single digit election results for Greens. And we understand that, but also it's a matter of growth. And so we want to expand people's thinking into what can be done under the current numbers that we have, under our current level of electoral success. And so, starting with the 3.5% rule, this is based on academic research, but if 3.5% of a population is willing to resist through peaceful assembly, it is actually often enough to overthrow an authoritarian state. And so, if 3.5% can overthrow an authoritarian government, think of what else it can do. The next is that 5% is a really important number for the Green Party. So in Washington, if we were to hit 5%, we would be given major party status. And what that would do is it would open up new political offices called precinct committee officers that are hyper local. Sometimes they cover a single block or a single building. And that creates a very local position for Greens to get elected to and then help drive voter turnout and grow our membership. Nationally, if we're able to hit 5% in a presidential election, we would be given minor party status. But there ain't nothing minor about getting 10 to 20 million in public funding. And so we're very grassroots funded. We take no corporate money. 10 to 20 million would be absolutely game changing for the Green Party, and it is possible. And the last point is no alternative party has won a federal election since 1970, but it's not impossible. And the Green Party could be the first party to do that in many decades. And it would absolutely change the narrative. People would no longer be able to say, Greens never win, Greens aren't in office. Simply one member of Congress could absolutely shake the two-party system in the United States. And all of that is possible under our current electoral system. If we are able to grow democracy, then the opportunity for the Green Party only increases. So there's a number of ways to do this. And the first is called ranked choice voting, which effectively, instead of forcing voters to pick only a single candidate, they are able to rank their preferences in terms of who their first choice is, who their second choice is, etc. And so what this does is it eliminates the spoiler effect that makes people think they have to vote for the least bad candidate who has a shot of winning. And for many years, this was just a very abstract idea that was maybe talked about in political policy nerd kind of circles. But in 2016, it was passed in the first state, which is Maine. A couple years later, it was passed statewide in Alaska. And then a couple of years after that, it was passed in the city of Seattle. And we have not yet even had a ranked choice vote election, but they're coming in 2027. So very shortly on the horizon, it may become quite a bit more practical for third parties in Seattle. The next is eliminating the Electoral College. Right now, it can be very difficult for third parties to thrive under the Electoral College system, and many people believe that it requires a constitutional amendment to change this. But the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact is a very interesting idea that allows states to take this on together. And so, what the idea is, in short, is that states can pool together their electoral votes, and if enough of them do that, they can assign them to the winner of the popular vote. And so, what this does is it would establish a de facto popular vote, and it would not require a constitutional amendment. And it very well could happen in our lifetime, because you can see that we are very close to reaching that 270 electoral vote threshold. And so this again allows people to vote without worrying about being in a swing state. And then there's a number of other reforms that we think are also just worth some mind and some attention. There's proportional representation, which we see in other countries around the world. There's uncapping the House of Representatives, or expanding legislative bodies in general to create more political offices and more fair representation. There's eliminating the Senate filibuster, or eliminating the Senate entirely, which would basically just make our legislatures more democratic. And then there's public campaign financing. So let's talk about this in the context of Seattle. We are the Seattle Green Party after all. So just a brief history of us. We were founded in 1997, and we do have electoral victories under our belt. You may not have heard this before, but we have elected someone to the city council in the past, and we've also won citywide elections for public school board. But the important thing here is that we are active, we are growing, and we are ready to have more impact. We organize across a number of issues, and these are issues that we would like to see across the state and across the country. But all of these issues are selected for being relevant within the context of a municipality. So public banking, municipal broadband, universal public health care, a housing guarantee, fair free public transit, a living wage, universal free pre-K. These are huge ideas, and yet they are possible within the city of Seattle. And we don't even need to hold office to have an impact. So even right now, without any members elected to the city council, we can still do community building, we can grow our membership, we can run ballot initiatives, we can do public comments at city council, we can build coalition partnerships, organize around issues, and do public education. And we can take direct action, do mutual aid, and provide services. And so I just put House Our Neighbors here as an example. This was an allied campaign. They managed to pass an incredible social housing project through a ballot initiative. And so we can join in with organizations like this to build partnership, and we can run policies like this on our own. The great thing is that Seattle is actually really fertile ground for third parties. So for a decade, there was a socialist third party city council member. You've probably heard of Shama Sawant. And so, again, one of the longest serving city council members in a long time, and a member of a third party. So the people of Seattle are already sort of accustomed to this idea. They very recently elected a socialist mayor, showing a general openness to alternative ideas. There are the Democracy Voucher Program, which the Democracy Vouchers is a form of public campaign financing that gives grassroots candidates who are willing to knock doors and canvass the ability to compete with those who collect big money. And as we talked about earlier, there's ranked choice voting coming in 2027. But the great thing about running at the local level is that it's nonpartisan, and we have a top two primary system, which may not be perfect, but if you're able to get through that primary and into the top two, anyone has a decent shot of winning. I also put Fair Vote Washington on this slide because Fair Vote is the primary force behind ranked choice voting, both in Seattle and taking it further across the state. So this is a little bit about Seattle elections and how they work. So you can see that the city of Seattle is divided into 7 districts. And so each of those districts has a city council member. And then there's a number of positions that are citywide, including mayor, city attorney, city auditor, municipal judges, and then 2 more city council positions, which are citywide. There's also the public school board, which has 7 districts of its own, not quite the same as what you see on that map there. And those elections work a little bit differently. You're elected in district for the primary, and then you appear citywide on the general election. And so this is another opportunity to take a very local issue, but appear on a citywide ballot. So there's lots of offices to run for. There's lots of room for growth, and let's build a branch in every district so that we can keep our eye on what's going on and jump on good opportunities for us to have an impact and get into office. And then there's also boards and commissions, and there are over 70 boards and commissions in the city of Seattle. And what these are is they are public offices. They take on important issues. They do important research and work, and they go across a ton of different types of areas of interest. And so I just put a couple of them here. But what's very cool about boards and commissions is there are tons of vacancies, and they are usually appointed. And so you can get into public office and get involved and start building connections out there without having to even win an election. And so for those who are getting started, who think they may want to run for a big office one day, we really encourage you to take a look at these boards and commissions and see if you can plug right into something that is within your interests, and to build a resume of public service that will then serve you very well running for office. And so that's pretty much the bulk of the information I wanted to go through. We're going to kind of transition into some calls to action, and I'm very happy to hand it back to Halima to go from here.
Yes, thank you, Andre. When you think about all this information that we gave you today, the next thought that comes to mind is, okay, I like what you're saying. You must like what we're saying because you're here. So the next step is, how do I take, action? So it's time to take action, and there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can follow us on social media. We have the Washington Green Party that's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X/Twitter. Seattle Green Party just has the X, Twitter, and Facebook, but we're going to be starting pretty soon Instagram, hopefully TikTok. I know some folks feel a certain way about that, but we want to reach the young people as well. So another way is join our upcoming meeting online and in person. We have members meetings, and our next general public meeting is in December 22nd. We have a strategic planning meeting. And then the end of the month, we have an in-person meeting at the Beacon Hill Library with Whole Washington. So yeah, please come and get to know us, get to know what we're about and the things that we're doing. And then the next way is becoming a dues-paying Green Party member. Dues can be as low as $0 a month, but if you have the funds, please do. It does help us support to grow and get our name out there. Members can participate in discussions and votes on Lumio. And of course, last but not least, run for office as Green. There are opportunities in 2026 and 2027 to run for office. But more than that, you can also become a volunteer. So if you can go to the next slide. Volunteering with this Green Party chapter means helping build real power where it matters most at the local level. Whether you're contributing skills in outreach, communications, research, or direct action, your time translates into tangible impact, stronger coalitions, informed communities, and organizing a political change that will have a lasting impact. People can focus too much on the duopoly, the two-party corrupt system, and feel overwhelmed by a helpless and powerless feeling against such corruption. However, there is something we can do politically, which is build a grassroots, people-powered party that can win elections. As Andre has beautifully demonstrated we can win elections, and we have. We can't build this change in future without volunteers, and your labor is essential to helping us grow. Help build our collective power. We've identified a list of volunteer roles we're hoping to fill to strengthen our organizational capacity. That said, we're just as interested in the skills, experience, and energy you bring and how they can contribute to the chapter and the broader party. If your skills don't neatly match one of these roles, that's completely okay. We need all kinds of support from entry level and clerical tasks to event support, flyering, and public street or door-to-door canvassing or outreach. Every contribution matters, and there's a place for anyone willing to show up and help build collective power. So here are the most critical roles that we've identified when it comes to communicating with the public, when it comes to outreach, when it comes to recruiting and getting people engaged. We need more people, not just volunteers, but members. The people-powered movement grows through the labor and work of people. So organizing and field work when it comes to community organizing, field volunteers, so building relationships, recruiting volunteers, supporting canvassing, helping grow neighborhood or campus teams, canvassing and outreach volunteers, which falls in the same line of organizing, door-to-door outreach, event tabling, event or demonstration flyering, petitioning, voter or community education. Then there's filmmaking and text banking volunteers, call or text supporters, conduct surveys, mobilize people for actions and events. And then we have coalition and outreach coordinators, liaison with unions, student groups, faith organizations, and community partners. Essentially, what the coalition organizer and coordinator does is, connect us with different organizations and communities that are active, and unions and student groups, so that we can be, everywhere and get them to support this party. And then last but not least, on the organizing and field branch is the membership, retention, and fundraising volunteers support the growth and sustainability of the organization and the party by recruiting new members, strengthening members' engagement and retention, and encouraging recurring donations. We are not able to grow without members, and so this is really essential to the work that we do and the outreach. And then when it comes to communication, the biggest way people communicate is digitally. So we are in need of digital media and communications volunteers when it comes to social media volunteers, creating posts, managing comments, DMs, boosting campaign messages, and tracking engagement. Content creators, really talented content creators when it comes to graphic, video, and writing, whether it's designing flyers, graphics, short videos, blog posts, or email content. We do design and send our own email blasts, and it does get engagement. So we need folks to build that content. We also have the digital organizer, online outreach, petition distribution, event promotion, and supporting engagement. The digital organizer will do a lot of the online promotional work and marketing work. Then there's the website and tech support, maintaining or updating websites, sign-up forms, email tools, data systems, and metrics. And then lastly, press and media support when it comes to drafting press releases, pitching stories, managing media lists, supporting spokespeople, when it comes to just getting our name out there in the media, including independent media, whether that's podcasts, whether that's, mainstream, whether that's print. We want to get our name out there in front of people as much as we can. And so these are the roles that are critical, but there are so many different roles that we have and that we need to fill. And it's really about the skills that you have, and secondary is the roles that we need to fill, because, we will find a place for you no matter what kind of skills you have. So let's go to the next page. Build the chapter with us, the Seattle Green Party chapter. You don't need to have everything figured out to contribute. Show up, learning together, and taking on what you can is how this party and movement is built. There's a role for everyone, and your time and effort, however much you can offer, make a real difference. Our work is only possible because people choose to give their time, labor, and care to something bigger than themselves. Whether you're stepping into a leadership role or supporting with entry level tasks, your participation strengthens our collective capacity. This party grows through shared responsibility, and we're glad you're here and ready to be part of that work. I hope you do volunteer and give your labor. We cannot do this and we cannot grow without that labor. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And, with the time we have left, we would love to answer your questions, have a discussion, hear some feedback. So thank you very much.
Will the discussion and feedback section be recorded also?
I kind of figure at this point, maybe let's stop the screen share and stop the recording. And
I agree.
yeah.